Confessions of a Surrealist, we join George Melly on a curious journey.
The marvelous is always beautiful. Anything marvelous is beautiful. In fact, only the marvelous is beautiful. Today, I'm going to make a journey. I'm going to walk from where I live in North London to see the great exhibition of Dada and Surrealist art at the Hayward Gallery. But I'm not going to see just an exhibition. I'm also going to meet my youth, because it was as a youth that I fell in love with surrealism and joined the Surrealists in England. I was in the Navy at the time. I was about 18, 19 years old, and I discovered a book by Herbert Reed called Surrealism. I read it, I looked at the images in it, and I suddenly realized that here was a key to a world I'd always suspected existed, but which I didn't know how to get into. Looking at this naval uniform by my side and thinking of myself inside it then, a young, rather silly, very hysterical young man, I can remember at the same time the absolute joy of opening my eyes in the morning and thinking, today I live the surrealist life, today I see through surrealist eyes. Surrealism is the spirit of the dream coupled with reality. It's reality as it might be. It's reality infused with poetry. It's not mystical. It relies only on what is there, but it combines these two to produce a world totally free. I must get up now and shave and wash and bathe and put on clothes and do all those other things that people do every morning and which they find perfectly normal. The Surrealists never believed in looking bohemian because they realized that people expected bohemian artists to behave madly, and so they chose to look like everybody else. And when they did, therefore, attack the bourgeoisie through surprise, scandal, or whatever means they chose, it was all the more shock to those they attacked that those who were attacking them looked exactly like themselves. Messens, for instance, was absolutely meticulous about his appearance, and in the bathroom, even to the point of obsession. For instance, he shaved no less than 3 times, using a fantastically elaborate mathematical system to select a Gillette razor blade from a huge pile he kept on the glass shelf in front of his glass. Magritte also, of course, was an extremely neat, well-shaven person, and indeed painted, dressed like a businessman, in an office rather than as an artist. He never used a smock, for instance, and he always wore a tie. He too painted a picture of objects used in his toiletry, blown up to an enormous size in a small room, the walls of which are made of clouds. All the people in that little train, which rattles along between Richmond and Broad Street, have already shaved. They're on their way to work. At least I presume most of them have shaved, except for those, of course, with beards. The thing that Marcel Duchamp, the Dadaist, did was to add a moustache to the Mona Lisa, and then about 40 years later, he reproduced the Mona Lisa without the moustache, called the Mona Lisa Shaved. And again, in Dali and Buñuel's film, The Andalusian Dog, the opening shot shows somebody sharpening a razor on a balcony. A moon with the cloud passing in front of it and the razor passing through the eyeball of the girl. Horrifying image that. I remember once seeing it at a film society and a man said, "I can't watch this sort of thing. I play raga."
My wife with the legs of flares, with the movements of clockwork and despair. My wife with the hair of a wood fire, with the thoughts of heat lightning, with the waist of an hourglass, with the waist of an otter in the teeth of a tiger. My wife with the breasts of a marine molehill, with a tongue of rubbed amber and glass. No, Salvador Dali, I've decided not to wear your aphrodisiac jacket on my walk to the Hayward Gallery. It's quite a long way, and it would prove too difficult to avoid spilling the creme de menthe in its many little glasses, which I have carefully refilled one by one as per instructions. Anyway, I've no dead flies to float on the surface of each glass, although I've scoured the house for them. Oh, Dali, what a genius you were. What a sad clown you have become. Dali once said, and with justice, the only difference between me and a madman is that I'm not mad. On my walk, I shall bear in mind a directive from André Breton. Expect all good to come from an urge to wander out ready to meet anything. Marcel Duchamp, painter of nude descending a staircase, descending a staircase. What has always irritated me is that people still insist on thinking of surrealism as an artistic movement. Breton used to call it the artistic alibi. I remember him saying that surrealism is a new vice which should not be the prerogative of just a few men. Magritte used to live in a street not unlike this one. Oh, look, how strange. There's a dog rather like his. I used to go and visit him in Brussels. I often met him taking his dog Lulu for a walk. Always a creature of habit, he invented, inside his suburban house, a series of profound and disturbing visual jokes. It's difficult to believe he's dead. His spirit is everywhere. Magritte is dead. Long live Magritte. In my youth, I would, on whim, enter a telephone box, dial a number at random, and pass on to the perplexed subscriber a surrealist message. This struck me as a completely legitimate surrealist exercise.
Ideal, 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 knowledge, 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 boom, 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 boom.